What's going on, tea drinkers? Welcome back to the core of everything sensational, nasty, and mind-boggling. Hold on to your seats. If you thought the world of reality TV had reached its pinnacle of insanity, reports of a confrontation that is so disgusting, rude, and intimate that it has left even the most seasoned drama fans stunned are currently causing the internet to explode. The queens of shade, Sierra and Karlie and their claimed heated encounter with Mendeecees Harris are at the center of a whirlwind of accusations. It appears that a boundary wasn't just crossed and burnt, as evidenced by the whispers on social media developing into roars. There are rumors that amid a heated argument, everyone was taken aback. Yandy Smith Harris, Mendeecees' wife, was the target of an absolutely repulsive attack. We are discussing the kind of accusation that permanently destroys friendships and shatters families. The purported statement, "Your wife is a hooker," is the spark that ignited the digital world. According to reports, the consequences are disastrous. Why would Karlie and Sierra travel there? What may have caused such a low blow? Every leaked information, every mysterious post, and the purported behind-the-scenes chaos that resulted in this moment are all being analyzed tonight. It's more than simply a spat. Fans are split and the industry is trembling as a result of this verbal sparring. Everyone is waiting to see if the receipts will eventually be dropped, and the anticipation is growing by the moment. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. We are going to be dissecting the most scandalous thing she said this year, so stay put. As we examine the shock waves this potentially friendship-pending discovery caused across the neighborhood, you won't believe the purported twists and turns in this story. The drama is going to get quite genuine, so get ready. According to rumors circulating in the industry, the camera supposedly started rolling on what was supposed to be a typical red carpet event, but quickly turned into a battlefield of egos and deep-seated resentment. The tension in the air was so intense that you could practically feel it vibrating through the screen. Everyone knew that the weird serenity that began the evening wouldn't last, especially with characters as volatile as Sierra and Karlie in close proximity to Mendeecees Harris. According to the report, the conflict started as soon as I made contact across the VIP lounge, which was supposed to be a place of luxury but instead turned into a pressure cooker of silent complaints. There has always been an underlying competitive intensity between these camps, as fans who have followed their path are aware. However, no one anticipated that the stated escalation would escalate to such a disrespectful level. According to people close to the production, the early jabs were mild, largely consisting of sidelong glances and quiet murmurs that intensified as the evening wore on and the alcohol flowed. It began with remarks regarding commercial endeavors and who was actually in charge of their separate groups. However, when the subject came to family loyalty and the past, the storyline abruptly changed. When Sierra allegedly said that Mendeecees constantly tried to act as the group's moral compass despite having a dubious past, the environment quickly changed from professional to personal. Mendeecees, who is renowned for defending his family and tranquility at all costs, is said to have reacted defensively to this. However, it is said that his composed manner simply made Karlie more irate. According to the sources, Karlie read into the fight with such intensity that even the security crew was taken aback. She never wanted to back down from a confrontation. She apparently started bringing up old rumors and outdated articles, creating a web of accusations meant to make a statement. The spectators stared in startled silence as the back and forth became increasingly intense. They realized that whatever tenuous alliance had existed between these reality titans was completely collapsing. The insults shifted from business disputes to the core of their personal lives as the shouts grew louder and more caustic. Mendeecees' attempts to defuse the situation seemed to exacerbate it each time, culminating in an alleged breach of the bounds of basic human decency. As the taunts shifted from general derision to targeted hatred aimed at the one person Mendeecees values above all others. The cameras were allegedly recording every recoil and gasp from the surrounding throng. The energy was characterized as poisonous by the spectators. A maelstrom of rage when raw, unadulterated emotion took over, and rationale had completely vanished from the room. Professionalism and maintaining appearances for the fans were no longer pretense. Was a raw, emotional clash that seemed to be the culmination of years of pent-up resentment in one disastrous encounter. According to the report, Sierra and Karlie appeared to be feeding off each other's energy, escalating the situation until there was no turning back. These days, it wasn't just about who had more followers or a larger brand. Destroying someone's reputation in front of a live audience had become a deliberate endeavor. When the discussion turned to the validity of Mendeecees' marriage and the nature of his wife Yandy, the drama apparently reached a fever pitch. This is where the narrative takes its darkest turn, as the insults are said to have changed from standard reality TV arguments to a concerted attack on Yandy's dignity. Standing nearby, many reported hearing remarks that were inappropriate for polite conversation, let alone being captured on camera for national viewing. According to reports, the room fell silent for a brief moment as the weight of the words hung in the air like a dark cloud. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated chaos, where it was impossible to distinguish between genuine malice and entertainment. The shock of the moment was evident. While many in Sierra and Karlie's camp appeared shocked by the audacity of the attack, Mendeecees and Yandy's fans were allegedly horrified by the degree of hatred being shown. The insults became more frequent and repulsive as the conflict worsened, culminating in the particular disclosure that has everyone talking today. According to reports, Sierra questioned the Harris household's foundations during the bitter exchange, and Karlie fueled the flames by claiming to have secret knowledge that she had been clinging to for years. Everyone concerned was left searching for an escape strategy that didn't exist as a result of the deliberate display of power through verbal abuse and intimidation. Security apparently had to physically step in multiple times to keep the parties apart due to the seriousness of the situation, but even their presence was insufficient to stop the verbal abuse. According to the sources, Mendeecees was clearly disturbed by the sheer boldness of the women he had regarded as peers, rather than by fear. It is said that he made an effort to keep his dignity. But when his life partner is being dragged through the mud with such careless recklessness, how much can a man stand? Leaked videos and eyewitness reports flooded Thirsty's feeds, sparking an almost immediate social media backlash. There are fans everywhere. People were picking sides, analyzing every word, and trying to figure out how the celebration turned into a character assassination so fast. The story is portrayed as one of betrayal and ingrained jealousy, with the Harris family's success allegedly turning into a target for individuals who felt excluded from the limelight. There was apparently more drama in every minute of the encounter than in a whole television season, resulting in a PR problem for the producers, but a treasure trove of material. The purported slur that your wife is a hooker was not merely a casual remark. Rather, it was the culmination of a protracted and convoluted path of animosity that had at last come to an end. Such a statement has far-reaching effects, impacting not only the individuals involved, but also their offspring and the larger community. The aftermath of the first blow-up is still described in detail in the accounts, which depict a scene of complete chaos where friends were forced to choose allegiances and long-standing ties were abruptly broken. With all three people's personal history being weaponized in a way that seemed irreversible and permanent, the emotional stakes were at an all-time high. The argument's echoes continued to reverberate as the night came to an end. The news was just starting to catch on in the venue's hallways and online. At this point, the rumors coalesced into a conflict narrative that would dominate headlines for weeks to come, laying the groundwork for an unanticipated fallout. It was impossible to ignore the account because of the complexity of the emotions involved, which ranged from hurt and fury to complete incredulity. Every article that surfaced seemed to complicate matters more, demonstrating that this was a deep-seated conflict that was only now coming to light in the public glare, rather than only a straightforward misunderstanding. The nasty nature of the remarks and the flagrant disregard for a lady who wasn't even present to defend herself were the main points of contention, which made Sierra and Karlie's conduct even more divisive and contentious to the general public. As the weight of those purported words dropped into everyone's hearts, the venue's mood had changed from a posh celebration to a sight of complete devastation. According to the story, Mendeecees did not just explode in anger following the initial shock of the insult. Instead, a terrible and frigid quiet took over his expression, making the observers even more uneasy than the shouting had. He reportedly stood there for a considerable amount of time, gazing at Sierra and Karlie with an expression of utter incredulity, as though he were seeing them for the first time without the mask of reality TV cameras. There was allegedly a lot of nervous energy in the surrounding throng, with some individuals going for their phones to record the consequences, and others retreating to prevent the seemingly inevitable physical escalation. Witnesses report that after the initial slur against Yandy, Sierra allegedly doubled down on the insults. saying that the business had secrets that were finally coming to light, and that she was no longer frightened to be the one to speak the truth. Karlie responded with even more purported information, implying that the Harris family's marriage was only a business alliance and that their reputation was based on fabrications. According to the allegations, the conversation turned into a fast-paced firefight for the cameras, with both women alternately destroying the persona of a woman who has spent years establishing a reputation for strength and family values. Petty jealousies and long-standing rivalries that had never been adequately addressed were the driving forces behind this premeditated maneuver, which seemed to have been boiling beneath the surface for years. The couple's friends, who were apparently present, found themselves in a challenging situation where they had to choose between protecting Yandy's honor and avoiding the line of fire of two women who appear to have lost all sense of professional limits. These reports are giving rise to a narrative that depicts a divided community. Mendeecees apparently attempted to find his voice amid the pandemonium, where loyalty is a rare commodity and the demand for a viral moment trumps the importance of human respect. According to the accounts, the women were reminded of the times they had sat at his table and eaten with his family by his emotionally charged remarks. After speaking such disgusting things about their mother, he allegedly questioned how they could face his kids in the eye. However, he apparently got a dismissive and icy answer. According to the sources, Karlie dismissed the sentimentality, saying that everything is fair game in the entertainment industry and that it is not her responsibility to make things better if the truth hurts. Fans are especially offended by this degree of alleged callousness, which has turned social media comment sections into a battlefield of viewpoints. The women are allegedly being defended by some, who claim that they are merely acting out their parts for the performance. The production crew allegedly felt the ripple effect of this confrontation immediately, as they were faced with a moral conundrum on how to handle the tape. Even though the majority were outraged by the lack of empathy and the readiness to use such a harmful name against another woman, do they show the entirety of the trial in order to increase viewership, or do they uphold the participants' dignity? According to the article, executives at the network were concerned about the possible legal and social repercussions of airing such a disparaging claim, which led to an internal argument as strong as the one on the floor. In the meantime, bloggers and influencers were picking up the story and contributing their own theories as it spread like wildfire around Atlanta and beyond. While some claimed that this was all a plot to bolster declining ratings, others maintained that Mendeecees' pain was too genuine to be staged, according to reports. The scene carried over into the parking lot, where the shouting match persisted even after the indoor cameras stopped. As she was being led to her car, reports stated that Sierra was heard yelling further allegations, clearly pleased with the mayhem she had caused. According to reports, the level of hostility was so great that even the security guards were trembling due to the blatant disrespect. The toxic exchange had utterly destroyed the mood, so after they were back inside, the event was effectively ended. According to reports, Mendeecees was spotted huddled with a few close friends, appearing as though he had been caught off guard by a betrayal. According to the claims, he allegedly called Yandy right after the incident to inform her of what had been said while she was away. She must have been devastated and perplexed to learn that those she had previously regarded as members of her extended professional family were suddenly spearheading an effort to ruin her reputation. The emotional stakes had escalated from a straightforward argument to a scandal that may change people's lives. According to the article, the next few hours were a whirl of crisis management and contentious private discussions as all parties attempted to determine their next course of action. The charges went beyond simple insults. The Harris brand, which mostly depends on the idea of a solid, cohesive family, was directly impacted by them. Calling a wife and mother a hooker is an attempt to take away her respect and humanity in a single, powerful blow. According to the accounts, this was a conscious decision to use the most offensive language possible, rather than an unintentional slip of the tongue. The news dominated the digital landscape as night gave way to morning, with Mans, Yandy, and Karlie all trending as fans argued over the veracity of the allegations and the attacker's morals. Some saw Yandy's camp's early morning stillness as astonishment, while others saw it as a calculated maneuver to wait for the dust to settle before responding forcefully. According to the report, sponsors were apparently questioning their affiliation with celebrities who indulge in such low-level character assassination, which was already having an impact on business transactions and personal connections. According to reports, the cast's internal dynamics were also changing, with some members being compelled to take a stance. Some would support the Harris family, while others would remain impartial in order to appease Sierra and Karlie. Human lives and reputations served as the pieces in a real-life game of chess. Even in the realm of reality TV, there used to be a code of conduct that prohibited people from acting in such a deplorable manner. As the stories continued to emphasize, this incident is said to have broken that code into a million pieces, leaving a trail of resentment that might never be cleared. Legal threats were reportedly beginning to fly, and the social media messages were getting more angry and mysterious, so the drama was far from ended. Fans were waiting to see who would be the first to break the quiet and present their side of the tale in a public venue, and every new detail that surfaced just made the narrative seem more improbable. All of the players would eventually be involved in a big confrontation as the tension grew. For the time being, however, attention was still focused on that one repulsive comment that altered everything and left the community in a state of complete shock and indignation. It proved that sometimes the truth, or at least the stories of it, is far more dramatic and painful than anything a writer could ever imagine for a script. And it was a moment that characterized the year in entertainment news. The business as a whole was left reeling by the intense aftermath of this alleged explosion, which extended beyond that room into the days that followed. There were rumors that the Harris family was taking this very seriously, and that solicitors were being engaged since Sierra and Karlie's purported remarks had entirely blurred the distinction between reality TV entertainment and actual defamation. As fans saw that everyone was unfollowing each other and erasing pictures that earlier showed them all grinning together, the internet turned into a cemetery of former friendships. Insiders claimed that the tension shifted from the red carpet to the production offices, where Mendeecees allegedly requested that the tape be turned over or removed completely in order to save his wife's reputation from such a cruel and unfounded attack. But according to the story, witnesses had already leaked the insult's essence to all of the nation's top gossip blogs, suggesting that the drama was already too far gone. With a string of enigmatic yet impactful writings on integrity and the extent some will go to for a little moment of fame at the expense of others, Yandy Smith Harris eventually broke her silence when Sierra allegedly went live on her own channel to defend her actions, claiming that she wasn't the one who started the fire and that she was sick of people playing the victim. The controversy escalated, while they had secrets of their own. Instead of offering an apology for the words used, she chose to embrace the pandemonium, which infuriated the fans even more. On the other side, Karlie Red reportedly became silent for a few days, which many saw as her realizing the seriousness of the matter and the possible legal repercussions of calling someone a hooker on video. As the audience started to consider these women's background and the numerous instances in which they had clashed, the narrative changed. However, nothing in their past could match the degree of contempt people felt over this particular episode. According to the article, all of the cast members from Rashida to Spice were drawn into the frenzy and urged to express which side they supported, because no one wanted to remain in the same room as the individuals who had brought such a bad energy to the circle. The strain was so great that it supposedly caused a rift that stopped filming for several days, according to reports. Mendeecees was preoccupied with his family and ensuring that his kids were shielded from the damaging headlines. However, that proved to be an unachievable task in the era of the internet.